Hey, welcome to Soul Hub. So in today's episode, we're talking about the feeling of emptiness when your biggest desires are not fulfilled. And it's actually a question that comes from the community, from Dennis. It's about a specific desire, but you can replace whatever your desire is with this one because it really doesn't matter what the specific desire is. It's all the same principle. So this will be very pertinent to you no matter what your desire is. All right, and so Dennis says, my desire has been centered around the area of emptiness and loneliness, wanting to feel and give love with a romantic partner. This has been my darkness, and the emptiness has not been solved. I still hunger and crave this profound sense of connection. What can help without the true connection and intimacy? How can you live without what only another person can give? All right, and so I'm going to answer some specifics about this question, but again, a lot of it will apply to pretty much any desire. And if you look at it from that perspective, you'll be able to see the same similar mind traps in whatever desire you're hoping to attain that's leaving you feeling a sense of lack, a sense of emptiness inside. And so there's actually a lot of clues about the traps that you're falling into here, Dennis, or that your mind is presenting you with that you're not quite seeing clearly. And I'm just looking at your question again to see where to start with. Well, let's say this. It says, you say, what can help without the true connection and intimacy? How can you live without what only another person can give? So right there is the first big trap here. And that you're assuming there's an underlying assumption that only another person can give you the love that you desire, the connection that you desire. And if this is someone else is, listening to this, watching this, and they have a different desire, you're assuming, most likely, if you feel emptiness, you're assuming that only the object of your desire can give you that sense of fulfillment that you desire. And that's actually not true. You see, what actually happens when we get a desire fulfilled, the reason why it feels so good and we are happy temporarily, so there's two reasons. One is, why do we feel happy when we get a desire fulfilled? And the second thing is, why is it temporary? The thing is, because it's all an illusion. The reality is that when we get a desire met, we do not get happy because the desire is met. That whatever our object of desire is, that's not what makes us happy. The other person is not what makes us happy. The new car is not what makes us happy. The job promotion is not what makes us happy. Fill in the blank. That's not what is making you happy. What's making you happy, crazy enough, is that for that brief period of time, you no longer have that desire. That's actually the truth of it. Because it was the desire itself that was making you miserable. And when you finally get what you want, what happens? The desire temporarily drops away. And there you are in a state of not desiring. And it's the state of not desiring that is actually where the peace and the happiness and the fulfillment comes from. That's why the Buddha said, desire is the source of all suffering. Desire. Now, in our crazy backwards world, where all values are pretty much the opposite of the truth, this is something very almost sacrilegious to say that desire is the cause of your suffering. I'm not saying that it's not natural to have desires. I'm also not saying that desires can't lead to some great things. I'm saying there's a source from which desires arise. If they are arising from the soul, the best word for them is probably not desire. They're more like just genuine flow or genuine intentions that come out from a place of fullness. Then they're beautiful. But if they're coming from a place of lack, and the way you know they're coming from a place of lack is if you're feeling miserable without having that thing, they're coming from a place of lack, then they're the source of all suffering. That desire, that wanting, because you are lacking and you're thinking, I need this before I can be happy. And that's really the second trap. It's thinking that I need this before I can be happy. And of course, like I just said, you get it, and then the happiness is always temporary. Well, why is that? Well, again, because it was never the object that was going to give you happiness, whether the object is a person or any other actual object or situation or whatever. And that's the proof that the happiness doesn't lie there, because if it did, when you have it, you would always just be happy if it actually supplied happiness. But of course it doesn't. And the reason why the happiness is temporary is because the happiness is coming from lack of desire temporarily. And then all of a sudden, now the mind gets bored with whatever the object is. Or if there isn't the deeper connection that I'm about to talk about with the person, the mind also gets bored with the person. And then what occurs is the mind brings up a new desire. And all of a sudden, the chase is back on. Everything's recycled. And you're back desiring again, feeling miserable about something else. Or if not outright miserable, you're feeling not as happy. You're feeling some restlessness. You're feeling some lack of peace, that there's something missing. And it just happens over and over again. And it's a vicious cycle that never, ever ends unless you start from where the truth really is. And the truth really is that everything you need is literally within you. This is not a cliche. This is not saying, oh, you have strength within you. Like, this is not a motivational speech. What this is literally meaning that you are a fountain, an endless, infinite fountain of joy, of love, of peace, of fulfillment, of everything you could ever want. And you project outwards that desire for wanting these things because temporarily they've been covered up by your egoic mind, by desiring outwardly. It's covered up your true nature. And so you project all the desires outwards. It's covered up because your identity is completely tangled up with thoughts instead of your true being. And so you don't feel those things, so you go searching for them outwards. And so the key is to learn to start feeling them within you. Now you say, Dennis, how can you live without what only another person can give? That is the primary error, thinking that is truly what only another person can give. That you think that the love is going to come from outside of you. The reality is it's going to come from within you. And not only come from within you, it's already within you. And not only is it already within you, it is you. That's the key difference here in what I'm trying to convey than most kind of messages out there, that most cliches. Is that, oh, whatever you need is within you. No, it is you. You are not this body, this mind that you think you are. You're not this person that you think you are with all these lacks and all these needs. That's an aspect of you, but you are much, much greater than that. You are the awareness in which this person even arises. And that awareness is full. It is complete. And I don't speak from theory. I've had, thousands of glimpses of it, but I've also had the full experience in one moment of transcendent meditation where I became infinity itself, the ocean of infinite love. Ziad dropped away, the body dropped away. I talked about it in my book. And I became that ocean of love. And it's so unspeakable. It's so beyond words that the only thing I can do to convey it to you is just use words which fail miserably to convey what that is. And it's not just what I am, because it has no boundaries. So by definition, it has to be what everyone is. It's what you are. Now, you don't need to be in that completely other dimension to experience this. You can start experiencing that love now. And what I'm here to tell you is that you need to start experiencing that first within you before you're going to attract that relationship to you. And if you attract it before you feel that within you, almost by definition, by default, it's gonna be laden with difficulties and other challenges, and it's not actually gonna fulfill you, right? And so the idea is to learn to feel it within, and then from that place of more and more fullness, if it's meant to be that you're gonna experience the manifestation of that fullness, of that love, of that inner connection of you to the true you, of you to the universe, and then you're going to manifest it outward with another person, then that will happen. It'll happen in its own right time, and you won't be feeling miserable until it does happen. And when it does happen, you won't be coming from a place of lack, of needing that person to give you what you feel like you don't have, which is not really love. That's not connection. If you're going to want that person to give you that, you're not going to be truly loving them even, because you're going to be placing a clause, a requirement on their love. You're going to say, you have to love me this way, because if you don't love me that way, I can't fully love you. Subconsciously, that's what you will be saying. You'll be saying, meet my needs. That's not love. Love just pours out. It doesn't say meet my needs. It doesn't say fulfill me. That's all taking. Love is giving. That's not true intimacy. That's not true connection. So within your question itself, you can see all these traps thinking that that would be true connection. That would be true intimacy. That's not what would be true intimacy or connection. And so it's been your darkness because you have misplaced your identity and you're trying to find what you want outside of you. And in this case, you think that love and connection can only come from another human being. True physical intimacy can only come from another human being in that way. But physical intimacy is only truly fulfilling or beautiful when what underlies it is a deeper sense of soul-based intimacy. And that has to start with you first. You have to be more of a fountain that is giving, but then also receiving, versus taking, fulfill me, I need you. That's the definition of romantic love in our world, and that has a lot of problems in it. That's just the ego. That's two egos coming in saying, I need you to complete me. Sorry. The ego does compete a lot too, so that's a slip of the tongue right there from good old Freud. And then there's another, I need you to complete me. But you're never going to complete each other in that way. It has to come from wholeness. And so I would say to you that you really have to look at this desire that's coming from the mind and question it. Don't just believe it. Don't just assume it's a true desire. Don't assume it's telling you the truth. In fact, here's the thing, and this is for any desire. If it makes you feel bad in any way, it's not a true desire. If it doesn't feel expansive, if it doesn't feel joyous or peaceful, if it doesn't feel like a beautiful intention that has joy surrounding it, it's not a true desire. That's as simple as that. It's not complex. That's your compass. It's coming from the ego, it's coming from your mind, and it will lead to disappointment one way or another. It will lead only to temporary happiness at best. And so what is the point of that? Is that what you really want? You want the connection, but the connection is within you. You can never be separate from the universe, from the totality. The true connection you're seeking is with creation itself. And you're projecting it onto another person. It's with love itself. That's what you're seeking. You're seeking a connection with love itself. And what a beautiful discovery when you realize you are love itself. It's closer than intimacy. It's closer than connection. You are it. So you got to start feeling it. And so I want to end this episode with helping you feel it a bit instead of just talking. I'd like to see if you can feel it a bit. So let's close our eyes. Take a deep breath. Just relax. And when you're exhaling your deep breaths, feel like your body's just melting into the ground, just melting. Any tension, it's just melting away. Relax into that ease. Feel that joyful sense of ease. In this moment, thoughts don't matter. Sense of lack doesn't matter. Desires don't matter. You can pick them up later if you want. But in this moment, I want you to sense into the completeness of the moment itself, of existence itself, not of you as a person, but just of this beingness that you are. It's here. You're here, literally. It didn't have to be that way. You didn't have to exist. And yet you do. How incredible is that? Who or what said you had to exist? There could have just been nothingness for all eternity. And instead, here you are, awareness. You're perceiving. You are. What a miracle. What an incredible miracle. You are. And as you feel into that isness of what you are, first feel it inside the body, feel the aliveness of the body. And you know it's alive. How? Because your eyes are closed. You can't see it, but you feel it. The inner body, you feel its aliveness. And relax more as you feel that. Feel the very cells vibrating with joy at existing. They are happy to exist. Once you drop out of thought, everything is in gratitude just for being. Out of nothingness, just for being. Enjoy that. Feel as if this is literally the first time you feel the body. This is the first time you breathe. Revel in it. Savor every little ounce of it. Just experience what it's like to be human. A spirit experiencing humanity for the first time ever. How beautiful. And now notice the awareness itself. Let it turn inwards onto itself. Instead of noticing the body or noticing sounds or feelings, let the awareness be aware of itself. i.e., just feel pure existence. Feel the spaciousness of being. And now let this awareness direct its attention right into the center of your chest, into your heart center. And let this loving awareness just pour all of its love directly into your heart center. And you just open up, even open up physically. Put your shoulders back, let your heart open up, and just allow it all. Receive that love. Whew. Wow, that was powerful. I hope you felt that love. I hope you know that that love is what you are. You couldn't have felt it otherwise. There's nothing outside of you. And even if you only felt a little spark of it, that's enough. That's enough of a start. And practice this more. Practice first getting in touch with the inner body, then expanding to the loving awareness that you are, and then allowing it to pour into the body. To love this seeming human self that you are. And identify as that love. Be that love. And once you do that, you start filling yourself with that love. You start re-becoming that love that you never stopped being in truth. Once you do that, then you start feeling more whole, more complete, and you stop seeking outside of you. But then all the other things will come to you, if it's needed. If your soul truly needs them, and you won't be miserable in the process of waiting for them to come. They'll come to you from a place of fulfillment, just manifesting it out of joy instead of out of a feeling of lack. And that's a world of a difference. That makes all the difference. So please try that. I hope this is of benefit to you. Thank you for your wonderful question. And anyone else that has a question, please email it in support@soulhub.com. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for tuning in.